guys, and welcome back to another car vlog. I feel like that's how I should just start these out from now on, because car vlogging is basically all I do anymore. But today is going to be another life discussion video. I thought long and hard about this topic, and I know this topic does not appeal to everybody, so some people might watch this and be like, I don't really care about that. Other people are gonna watch it and be like, yes, that is something that I wanted to hear. Which I'm kind of coming to the conclusion that my life discussion videos are not going to appeal to everyone all the time, just because I'm discussing life. Everyone's life is different, so. But today's life discussion video is actually on hair. You're like, what? It's on hair, and it's specifically on hair appropriation and women of color and their hair. I, for one, was never the type to like weave or wigs or anything like that. Growing up, I got perms all the time. I had lots and lots of thick curly hair when I was born. Like, I was born with like a head full of hair, and it was so thick and curly already, my mom didn't know what to do with it. So around the time that I turned, like, I don't even remember how old, my mom started perming my hair very young because she didn't know what to do with it. And my grandmother, she's Caucasian, she didn't know what to do with very curly hair either because she had very straight blonde hair. So they were both kind of stumped. And my mom, she was just perming my hair very young, which then naturally thinned my hair out over time. I got perms from a very young age, all the way up until, I was still getting perms up until like 20, 21, and I'm now almost 25. So most of my childhood into my early adult life, I had perms. And I had been told how thick my hair was as a baby by my mother and by my grandma, and how they just didn't know what to do with it. I never believed that I had thick hair, because the hair that I knew was thin, over-processed, just brittle. And I would get so upset because the second my new growth would start to grow out, I would freak. I'm like, Mom, I need to get another relaxer. Mom, my hair is growing out thick again. Oh, Mom, fix it. Because I associated that texture that was growing out as unmanageable and nappy. And thick was what I thought of the word as thick as not good. I wanted my hair to be thin and sleek to my head and shiny, and that's what I was used to. Straight hair. Straight, thin hair that I always just wore straight down, no curl to it, no anything, or I pulled it back into a ponytail. That's how I wore my hair. And I think it's just being exposed to social media and to other platforms where you can see other people that got my mind, thinking other things. And I think it was also that I was seeing people around me that were starting to go natural, and I'm like, I could never do that. Nope. Look at their hair, it just looks a hot mess. I could never do that. That's really what I thought in my head when I would see people with like little froze or just their natural hair, and like with like a headband on it or a headscarf. I would think, that's not cute. And I think back and I'm like, why did I ever think natural hair was not beautiful? I try to ask myself, where did I get the notion that natural hair is bad? Like, who deemed natural hair bad? I still don't know exactly where it started at, but for me, it started in my own home. My grandma didn't know how to do my hair. My mom, and not to be this way, but my mom was raised by someone who was white, so my mom didn't know how to do hair either. And then that turned into me not knowing what to do with my own hair either. It's a cycle. And so, like I said, as I got older, I got exposed to the natural hair world and to how more women were wearing their hair naturally. And I thought it was kind of cool. I'm like, hey, these women aren't ashamed of, you know, what they look like or anything, and they're proud of their heritage, and they're embracing what's growing out of their head instead of trying to cover it up or trying to chemicalize it. And it was actually in October of 2017, so exactly 2 years ago, you guys. 2. I was just done with my hair. I was living with my, let's see. Yeah, I was living, I had to think. I was living with my boyfriend at the time, in his apartment. We actually had been engaged in July, and then we called it off, and then we were just dating at the time. I was kind of in a weird spot because it's like we were just getting back into a relationship. My grandma and I really weren't getting along at the time, so I moved in with him, and it was weird because like we were trying to figure out our relationship still, and then I was living with him, and I was about to quit my job that I was at, and that's how I found the job that I'm at now. And I was really in an in-between stage in life. Everything was swirling around me. Everything was confusing. I was short on money. It was like that early adulthood crisis that I was going through, that I think we all, hopefully we all have went through that and blossomed out of it. And I just remember one day Nathan was taking a nap. Devontae, my husband, he was at work, and I had the day off. And I was just so sick of my hair. I didn't have money, so I wasn't really able to keep up with like touching up my new growth. And so my hair had grown out about this much. So I had like all of this thick, coarse hair, and then this thin, brittle stuff. And it just didn't look good anymore. I couldn't put headbands on it. I was having severe breakage in the front. Like all of the hair in the front was breaking off. I didn't even have bangs anymore. Like, it was so bad. And I just remember going in the kitchen and taking some scissors, and I just started cutting and cutting and cutting, and like, I think honestly I don't even remember cutting it all off. I just remember like bits and pieces, like memory wise here and there, like, oh, I cut this section, and then kind of like blanks, and then here I am cutting this section. Like, I don't even remember the entire process of me doing it, because I think at that point I just reached such a low point. I'm like, I can't deal with my hair anymore. So I cut it all off. All of my hair. I had about this much hair all the way across the top of my head when I was done. About an inch and a half. And I remember picking up my phone and taking a picture. And then I remember sending it to my boyfriend, and I'm like, so I just cut all my hair off. And I remember him responding when he went on his lunch break, which was a little bit later at night because he was working second shift. He was like, why'd you do that? That's when it kind of like hit me, like, oh my God, I just cut all my hair off. Like, why did I do that? And it was the most freeing, best thing I ever did for myself, because I now am in a place where I love my natural hair. Yes, I do wear wigs. I think wigs are fun. I like to change it up. I like the look of wigs. And it's nice when you're just kind of like trying to look a little bit dressier for something special and you just want to throw a wig on. I do that. I like to wear wigs. My husband thinks it's cool that I wear wigs. But I now have an appreciation for my natural hair to where I can wear my natural hair too. And I am totally 100% comfortable with that. And my husband loves my natural hair too. And I think you guys have seen in videos, 2 years, like, I have a lot of freaking hair. It is so thick and so curly, and it's so beautiful. I didn't even know what kind of texture I had, because my hair has been chemically processed my entire life. And so now I get to see, I get to see, like, this is my hair. And that's not nappy, it's curly. There's no such thing as nappy hair. Curly, kinky, coily, those are the terms you should be using for your hair if you have coarser hair. It's not nappy. It's beautiful. Like, I truly appreciate my natural hair so much now. And I do a lot to take care of it. And it just took seeing other people around me making that change to get me to kind of start thinking like, And it took me reaching a very low point in my life to kind of starting over. Cutting my hair was like the beginning of me starting over. Like I said, I had just broke off an engagement with my fiance. I had just moved out of my grandma's into my ex-fiance's house, his apartment. Like, lots of weird things were going on. I was in between jobs. Well, almost in between jobs, because I was about to quit my job because I was just so unhappy there. So much was just going on. And like I said, doing that was one good thing I did for myself in 2017, was cutting all my hair off and starting over. It was frustrating for a while. You know, my hair was very short, and I did wear wigs a lot. I still do sometimes, but not as much as I did before, just because I couldn't put it in a ponytail. I didn't have enough hair to straighten it. I couldn't style it. Now I have enough hair to put in a ponytail, 2 ponytails, a bun. I can straighten it because, you know, I've let my hair grow out for 2 years. But that initial first 7-8 months, it was rough because I'm like, ooh. And I did at some points regret cutting my hair off. But looking back to 2 years ago, it was the best thing that I ever did for myself. And I love myself more now for appreciating what I was born with and what God gave me. Which then brings me to my next part of this video, my little like life discussion, because you're probably like, all you're doing is talking about your hair. Well, yes, I have a point to this. And the point is, you should love your hair for whatever it is. I'm mostly talking to African American women, like women of color, that have deemed their natural hair ugly or nappy. I'm mostly speaking to you guys. You should love the hair that you were born with, and as long as you treat it well, you nourish it with good products, and you're careful when you're combing it, and you're just doing all of the right things, and truly, I like to call it watering the flowers. They're gonna grow. Those flowers are gonna grow. Your hair is gonna grow. It's gonna flourish. So yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. To love what God has given you. I mean, truly, you should. And I did not love what God gave me until very recently. And I'm glad it took, like I said, it took reaching a low point to get to love myself. And sometimes it happens to us. We go through traumatic situations, or we just reach all-time lows where we're like just basically done with life, to get to a good place. That's when God comes in and he saves us. Again, sorry for anyone that does not have a relationship with God or have like a religion that they claim. Sorry, you know, about mentioning that, but that's just how I see it. That's how I feel. But yeah, so like I said, that brings me to the next part with like the hair appropriation. As you can see, I'm wearing a wig that is straight, and this hairstyle is mostly associated with women of European descent, Spanish descent, whatever, Asian descent. But as you can see, I like the way it looks. Other people like the way it looks, and it makes me happy whether I have natural hair or a wig in whatever style I want. And I know it's a little touchy for some women, because some women of color think that European women should not wear their hair in braids. They should not do certain styles that have been claimed by people of African descent. And that stems more so from the fact that you know, the Africans were treated badly by the Europeans and the slavery, and that's what that goes back to. African American women, especially, because African American men don't really see it like this, but African American women feel so strongly about that because they're thinking back to their ancestors and how they were treated, and they look at it as like, you can't claim our style when you used to have us as slaves. And so I think that's why black women are comfortable wearing the styles of white women, because they didn't have them as slaves. But here's my thing. If women of color are going to be so bitter about other races trying to wear the styles of their descendants, why would we then wear the styles of the people that we're bitter towards? Does that make sense to you guys? Like me, I'm not bitter. Our ancestors, you know, that was before we were ever born, and we are such a melting pot now. This world is a bunch of different races and cultures, and everything's just kind of mixing together, and it's beautiful. I really love seeing all the diversity. So for me, it's like, I didn't grow up with that. I grew up in a blended family. My mom is mixed. My dad is like of mixed races. My grandma's white. Like, I was never in a home where I was taught to have that bitterness. And so I guess I just truly don't understand. I don't see what the big deal is. I feel like, you know, women of color can have straight styles that resemble the natural styles of European women, and European women can braid their hair if they want to resemble the styles that African American, like the women of color, have. I don't see what the issue is, and maybe people that watch this video can kind of comment on it and enlighten me. Like I said, I'm not meaning this in a mean way, a harsh way. I'm not trying to be like picking sides with any races. I'm just saying I don't see what the big deal is. I feel that we as people, we should be able to do whatever we want to do with our bodies, with our hair. I mean, we are our own selves. This is our temple to decorate as we want. I don't quite understand it. So that's kind of my life discussion today about natural hair and hair appropriation. I don't get it. And maybe, like I said, you guys can comment down below and give me some insight into how you feel about it, and maybe we can have a little discussion in the comments, because I feel like we all should be able to do what we want to do, you know? And that, again, stems into, you should be able to do what you want to do, and you should be able to love yourself for who you are, too. Like I said, there is nothing wrong with doing different stuff with your hair, altering it, whatever. And that's not to say, you know, that perms are bad, or thinning your hair out is bad, or straightening your hair is bad, the natural hair that you have. But at the end of the day, you should be able to look at yourself in the mirror with your natural hair and still love what you're looking at. You should still love the person that's looking back at you. If you want to, you know, like I said, if you want to alter your hair, that's fine. I wear wigs too. I straighten my natural hair sometimes, but then in its natural state, I still love the way it looks. And it did take me a very long time to get to that point. It took me pretty much almost my whole life to get to that point. But now I love my hair, and I just hope the people that do change up the styles of their hair also have an appreciation and an acceptance for what they are in their natural state. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wasn't gonna make another video so soon because I've been making like tons of videos and just getting them all edited, and just I've been really like pushing out the videos, so I wasn't gonna make another one. But I was just thinking about it while I was driving. I was just like, you know, what is the big deal with hair appropriation? What is the big deal with thinking your hair is bad or not good enough, or like, my mind was just swirling with things. And so I wanted to just share that with you guys. And like I said, you know, you can comment down below and we can kind of discuss it. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And don't forget to hit the little notification button down below to get all of my future video updates. And I'll see you guys next time.